Alright, after these two performances, I think Coop secured Rookie of the Year because he's shown a lot of progression from where he started, and I can tell he just reads the game better. Throughout the year, I thought he could be rushed because he just couldn't easily exploit his inherent size advantage the way he might have been able to in college. So in order to score, he had to rely on a lot of transition opportunities and use his raw athleticism in the open floor. But now, he's shown he can be cerebral. In the half court, a lot of that stems from him looking more balanced on his floats or jumpers, because that's the foundation, so he just needs to get to his spots. And I'm not mad at the fact he takes a lot of tough twos. If anything, I like his shot profile being in the paint or mid-range, because at his size, I'd rather see that than him settling from deep. So it's just a matter of becoming proficient with more burn, and the other Mavs are helping him speed up that process by spacing the floor correctly. I can tell they know his tendencies at this point, because they'll usually flood the right side, and that overload creates a single side on the left, so that allows him to get to his strong hand. That usually pins the lone defender to the strong corner, because they don't want to help off a shooter, so a lot of the times, they'll just stunt. And even when he does attack the double side, the wing player will know to cut through then empty out to the weak corner. That usually removes the nail defender, so that then creates a single side. And even their bigs know how to optimize the spacing, because when he's driving, they'll usually vacate the strong dunker to occupy the weak one. Those are all subtle but important aspects to the Mavs offense, because the spacing is why he's looked better on his ones, and the principles even apply in his screening actions, whether it's a simple ball screen, DHO, backside, or zoom. On the rock, the spacing has allowed him to exploit the usual coverages he sees in his screening actions, because against the drop, he can just exploit the space easier, and then when teams adjust to Reading 1 through 5, he showed he can exploit the mismatches too. Against the Magic, there was no right coverage, because he got on a heater in the second half, and they weren't willing to load up or commit any hard doubles, so anytime he got to play ones, they were basically allowing him to fry off the dribble. But I can understand why, because they were in control of that game, so him getting his wasn't going to cost him the win, and that was the opposite compared to the Lakers game. That one was close, and the Lakers were way heavier in the gaps, so anytime he was playing ones, he was usually seeing bodies, because they were loading up top, flooding his wing ISOs, or even having the low man help off the strong corner. It was just difficult for him to get stops, because he's shown he's willing to hunt, and his favorite matchup was the Luke Kennard one, so he was bringing Luke into the action as often as possible. That's an important aspect to develop in his game, because down the wire, that's probably going to be the Mavs' best offense, especially if it involves him and Kai in the two-man game, and as seen, it forced the Lakers to eventually start firing just to get the rock out of his hands. But it's not just about the hunts or him manipulating the coverages, because I've even seen him reject ball screens, and overall, I think he's just gotten better at recognizing the spaces to attack. There's just more patience in his game, so I can see him getting to the point where he can take over with the rock in his hands, and the only nitpick I have is when he's off the rock, because a lot of the times, he's just on corner duty doing nothing during those possessions. At least the Mavs do run pin downs, and I've even started seeing him run dunker pins, or staggers for him on BOBs, but still, I think that's an area where he can improve the most, because he's got to get some easier looks mixed into his current shot selection. The majority of his looks are tough ones being created off the dribble, so I think they should look to use him as a screener more, because same as Tatum, he can force a small to switch on a good ball screen and exploit that mismatch, or he can just slip him for an easy roll to the rim. Either option could be beneficial, and it doesn't even need to be a ball screen, because they can have him set those rip and slips on the weak side or something, so there's different ways to get him easier buckets as a screener. Having that skill would only help complete his game, and until Kai's back, he'll probably continue to be ineffective off the rock because there's no other player with enough gravity for him to consistently get lobs or cuts out the corner, especially the easy ones on the backside off a numbers advantage. Just watch the tape.